So essentially my work is driven by the impulse to just want to spend as much time as I can in the natural environment. I see my work as being much more similar to that of a farmer or a surfer or a fisherman. It just happens to be that I'm using paint and brushes rather than a surfboard or a fishing rod. When I said that I wanted to come and work in Margaret River in the winter, there was sort of some doubt as kind of whether that would be the best time of year to try to work sort of outdoors and stuff. And it's true that sort of some of the conditions have been a little bit challenging. There's quite funny bits on the film where I'm kind of just hunkered down underneath a tarp while a squall passes. But the effect of the rain on the paint creates fantastic effects, and also you get to see the environment in different sort of conditions, and it becomes a sort of a more genuine kind of broader experience, and I feel more alive once I've sort of been out working in the weather, wild weather. After a few days, kind of like you're full of excitement. Boranup has been quite a nice sort of refuge to sort of go when it's been really high winds or rain or something like that. You get sheltered from the wind and rain. You get the same sort of challenges as if you got sunny weather, trying to find a point within the forest where there's enough dappled sunlight that you can actually sort of dry the paint and stuff like that. And there's also been some really, really magical moments, like when the wind sort of blows up through the trees and the kookaburra calls, and like little flocks of birds and stuff like that are sort of flying through. So all in all, it's just been a fantastic experience. And have a little look at this sort of ancient carry forest here. I think each time you go out, you try something new out, so that you're always learning and you're always trying out new things. And I've stapled it to this because I want to kind of have one or two trees as the main subject. But in this forest, there's so many verticals going into the distance that there's just lots and lots of lines, like a barcode. So the idea with this is that I can put a lot of paint on. We'll see it. We'll try it in theory. And then it holds it flat along the top. I can hold it up, and the paint will just keep dripping down, so that I should have lots and lots of vertical lines, with that being able to keep sort of lifting it up and the drip. It's been my home for 2 weeks. It's been quite, logistically it's been quite difficult, because some of the biggest pieces been double the size of kind of the floor space, if you like, inside here. So actually having to paint in sections and work out how long something's going to take to dry and whether it's going to dry before sunset, because you can't put a wet painting folded in half where you're going to sleep and stuff like that. So it's been a fun challenge. Enough of a non-track that I'm not going to get somebody to try and drive over me. move it 2 foot to the right, I'm in sunshine, so it will dry faster and it will mean everything can just sort of speed up, and I don't need to. If you're working in wet conditions in the rain or the mist or anything like that, you have to kind of always be a couple of steps ahead of yourself, thinking about how wet the paint is and kind of working dry first and not using too much water and stuff like that. And it means I can sort of relax with that much sun, knowing that each layer will keep drying and that I can kind of layer stuff and change and be a little bit freer. The obvious thing to have done would have been to just paint it all blue and then paint leaves on top. But I'm kind of just seeing this kind of like, there's no area of just thick leaves or sky, it's just this really, really sort of faceted kind of patchwork of kind of leaves, sky, and this kind of, I wanted to kind of create that effect that you only really get that if you're doing sky and leaves at the same time, so the patching in and out, if you like, rather than kind of leaves on top, it will always be a layer on top of this kind of patching. And then the fun thing is I quite like these kind of edges, little fluffy edges of white, and I might sort of leave some of those in there. And then once that dries and you start putting the trees in, you can have loads of fun of kind of layering leaves back on, or sort of just punching holes through the leaves and putting the sky back in as well, and kind of just pushing it backwards and forwards kind of. Part of the reason it took so long is because like here, if you blur the blue and the green together, you just get kind of like this swampy effect happen, and these kind of like This is almost like a cobalt blue, so it kind of would make everything grey. And I wanted kind of the blue to stay clean and the green to stay clean, so kind of like trying to not let the two touch.